So for our second vlog this week, we're going to go ahead and talk about the horse industry a little bit. And the horse industry is a huge, broad thing. So Andrea and I looked through all of this and thought, how the heck are we going to cover all of this? And to be honest with you, we gained some inspiration from a fellow vlogger that we do pay some attention to, and that's Hank Green. And if you want to see the video that inspired us to make this, you can look in the informational links on YouTube down below this video. Someone who does a much better job of this than us.
He's very entertaining.
But what we're going to do today is we're going to use Google to help us go through the horse industry from A to Z and trying to look at everything and sort of get a broad overview of the horse industry. And we hope that you all walk away from this relatively short video with a better understanding of the breadth and depth of the horse industry and maybe learn some facts and some things that you didn't know before.
Starting with A, Horse Industry Alliance. It's a nationwide marketing group that supports and promotes public participation and awareness of horses and horse sports.
We can definitely use that.
Yes, also located in Bertram, Texas, side note, north of Austin.
Excellent. Well, we know they like to do things big in Texas, and we like things big in the horse industry, so that's good.
That's great.
B, the Horse Industry Board. What is a Horse Industry Board, and why don't we have one in Pennsylvania? Well, we do have the Pennsylvania Equine Council, and I think some of you are familiar with that, but a Horse Industry Board is actually a government legislated body that is meant to support the horse industry, and we see examples of those in Virginia and Maryland as far as states around us that actually have horse industry boards.
C, careers. Too many to mention in this vlog, but the Animal Science Department actually has a very helpful website with a list of careers, and we will go over careers more in depth later in the semester.
Right, D. This is a depressing one. Oh, notice the D there? Horse industry decline. What is that all about? So actually recently, as you put this in, the American Horse Council at their annual meeting this year, the title of their meeting was called, Where Are All the Horses? And this is kind of interesting.
Like they disappeared? Poof, where are the horses?
Yeah. So there has actually been a decrease in the number of horses, particularly in different breed registries, the number of horses we see at horse shows. So we can talk about all of the reasons for this, but it appears that the short-term trend in the horse industry has been a decline as of recently.
Economic impact of the horse industry. We have an economic impact. Nationally, $39 billion, and with a multiplier effect of $102 billion. In our state, we have $978 million of impact and related assets and investments of $7.15 billion.
That sounds like a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
That's a big economic impact. All right, F, horse industry facts. Well, what are the facts? It depends on where you look and what you're going to find those. So take these with a grain of salt. The American Horse Council says that there are about 9 million horses across the United States, and those 9 million horses are owned by about 2 million people. In addition, there are almost 5 million people that are actually employed or involved in the horse industry in some way. So those are some pretty significant numbers, and again, in another way, kind of demonstrates some of our impact on the horse industry.
Horse GDP, or gross domestic product, and as a nation, $38.8 billion, and we have a total impact of $101.5 billion for the U.S. GDP.
If you want to look up more about gross domestic product, look on the webpage. I actually put a link in there for the Wikipedia on gross domestic product.
In your spare time.
H, Horse Industry Handbook. This behemoth right here has been worked on over years and years and years by a lot of different people. It's put out by the American Youth Horse Council.
Yep, every year.
And it's something that we have a copy of, and you can certainly get a copy of. I think you can find aspects online. It has a lot of really useful information for people involved in the horse industry.
I, industry issues, and we head back to American Horse Council. They actually have a website dedicated to issues that are current, and some of the current issues up there now are Tennessee walking and the soaring issues, as well as double-decker transportation use and transporting horses.
Maybe that's something we'll talk about a little bit later on. All right, Jay, jobs. That's something we're all interested in, right? I'm glad I have a job right now. Hopefully I'll continue to have that job after doing this vlog. Some of you might be interested. So when you type in jobs, what are you going to find? And there are some actual equine-specific job sites out there. Equistaff is one of those. Has some interesting jobs on it. You can put your resume up there. And as I look through the jobs that are just posted there, I actually found one with Kentucky Equine Research, a company that I'm familiar with down in Lexington. They're actually in Versailles, Kentucky. So a lot of interesting jobs there. Great place to go and look and sort of see, well, what kind of job can I get in the horse industry?
Okay, Kentucky. Very well known for the Kentucky Derby, also known as one of the largest horse states in our country, has an economic impact of $4 billion just in the equine industry. And a map of Kentucky, and excellent place to visit, a lot of museums dedicated to the horse, all around a very horse-friendly state.
And so on that map of Kentucky that we put up there, you can see highlighted right in the middle, that red place, that's Lexington, Kentucky, which happens to come up for L quite conveniently. And Lexington, Kentucky is the quote-unquote horse capital of the world. Another excellent example of marketing, I would say. But for those of you that have an opportunity, you should certainly try to get down to Lexington, Kentucky. Go visit the horse park there and a lot of the other things that are there. It really is a phenomenal place and a huge amount of support for the horse industry there.
M, magazine. Equine magazines, a very long list of magazines. I suggest starting with American Horse Publications. Actually, the website is AmericanHorsePubs.org. Great place for all texts, all magazines, a comprehensive list of magazines that you can look up for the equine industry. Very helpful.
And if you're a writer, it's a great place to go for a job.
Absolutely.
And horse industry news. Well, there's a ton of horse industry news, and it changes every single day. You can see that with the feeds on our website. But I happen to find an interesting recent article out of the Pennsylvania Equestrian. I just want to highlight that here. It talks about the horse industry being threatened by a couple of things. What I want to highlight here is the fragmentation, okay, the fact that we have all these different disciplines, and the fact of the matter is they don't talk to each other particularly well. So that's this silo mentality that's also talked about in the article. And I think it's really important, as many of you go out into the horse industry, and for those of us that are already in the horse industry, to maintain an open mind about all the other people that are in the horse industry and realize that we're all in this together and we are the strength of the horse industry.
Oh, organization. Once again, because of the breadth and depth of the industry, lots of organizations. So here you go, an A to Z list in the A to Z vlog of industry organizations.
Cool. P, horse industry practice. Well, gosh, there's all kinds of types of
that's a tough
practice.
one.
Yeah, I mean, there are good practices, there's bad practices. Andrea talked about soaring earlier. That could be a bad practice, good practice. That's what we do down in our labs. We practice things that we do. We go out and practice with our horses. We have lots of different practices that we do in each of our disciplines. So again, sky's the limit here, and that's the beauty of the horse industry, is there's a lot of different things that you can do in it.
All right, Q. So typing in Q, QLD comes up. LD?
What's QLD?
Abbreviation for Queensland, apparently. Learned something. Queensland is a province in Australia, actually holds the majority or a large majority of Australia's horses and a very large importer of thoroughbreds.
Horse industry is big in Australia.
It's huge. Absolutely. Yes. So I learned a little bit of something about Australia and Queensland. Hope you did too.
R. Back to jobs again. Horse industry resume. Believe it or not, you can actually write a resume specific for horse jobs. And so I've highlighted here a particular text that I found, and it's got a section specifically on writing a horse industry resume. So maybe some of you that are really interested in getting a job in the horse industry should consider that.
S. Statistics.
I love statistics.
You would. Have a great quote from Ben Disraeli. There are 3 types of lies. Lies, damn lies, and statistics.
There's some truth to that.
Yes, it's a good takeaway. We have USDA, we have AHC, we have each state having their own statistics about the equine industry. But what's correct? Which one is more accurate?
I don't know.
You have to very carefully evaluate and look at the statistics and who's actually doing the statistics or the surveys.
Right. I mean, a perfect example, as we talked about in class, is the fact that if you look at the USDA estimates, we're talking about, somewhere between 6 and 7 million horses. And if we look at the American Horse Council, we're talking about 9 million
9
horses.
million.
That's a pretty big difference. So speaking of the number of horses, if we look at T, we get horse industry trends. Boy, we seem to really be wrapped up in numbers and trying to figure out.
We do.
We do a lot of counting in the horse industry, apparently. We can look at a number of surveys that have been done in states around Pennsylvania and in Pennsylvania ourselves to look at some of those trends. We can also look at the number of horses, for example, as they've changed over the last 100 years. And those are the kind of trends that I think that people in the horse industry should have a good idea about, and also be thinking about what is influencing those trends. Is it economics? Is it the way the horse is being used? Is it animal welfare? Is it the environment? All of those things are things to consider.
So U comes up next. U.
I thought Q was hard.
Yeah. U actually came up as UK, so United Kingdom. Little map of United Kingdom, if for those that don't know it. One interesting fact I'm going to point out is horseback riding is more popular than rugby, fishing, or cricket. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good. I
Yes.
don't know if that's true, but it's pretty good.
And they have over 6 million race goers every year. So they do attend races and enjoy watching the horse racing over
I'll tell you,
in
the
UK.
best horse racing I've been to has been in the UK, and it's really a part of their culture. I wish it was a little bit more that way here. V, horse industry value. Here we go again.
Good luck.
Count, count, count. So again, I think we've talked a lot about this. We've talked about the economic impact. We've talked about the trends. We've talked about the horse numbers. The horse industry certainly has value. One more place that the horse industry has value that we kind of talk about all the time is forage production. So even for those that don't have horses themselves, there's the old saying, horses are hay burners. They really do. They eat a lot of hay. And for all those people that are producing forages out there, horse intake is an important part of their output.
W, wages. Once again, jobs, careers, what you're going to get paid in the industry. On average, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, $19,000 a year for an animal caretaker.
That's tough.
That is about $9.60 an hour. That is tough. Of course, we range in spectrum from anybody who makes millions to the $19,000 a year. So you can look up averages for your equine veterinarian, your farrier, but it does vary significantly between your education and what you're actually doing in the industry.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics is a good place to go and look for some of that information, though.
Yes.
All right. Now things get complicated. Horse industry X.
I like the placement because you got all the hard letters.
All right. With X, we get Junta de Galicia.
Well done.
Yes. It is a board in Spain. And actually...
Northern Spain.
Northern Spain. Northwestern Spain, actually. Just above Portugal. But why does this come up? It's actually a research paper of all things, looking at some parasitology. So very interesting. So if you'd like to go look at that, you can. We've put a link to it here, and you can go look at that paper.
Okay, so why?
I don't know.
Why? American Youth Horse Council comes up. It's a national organization, and what they do is put together resources and promote youth leadership in the equine industry throughout the nation. Very good. They're the ones that crank out the Horse Industry Handbook as well.
Getting our youth involved is very important, and I think that that's a place where all of us can certainly play a role. I know that I try to get I get my kids riding, and I get their friends riding as well. So it's a great opportunity to expose people at a very early age to the horse industry, and something that can be a lot of fun for the rest of their lives. Here we are at the end. Horse industry Z. What are we going to find with Z?
I don't know, but we're at Z.
We are at Z. We are. Well, you know what? Turns out it's New Zealand, and it would make sense the last letter of the alphabet would be all the way on the other side of the planet. So let's go to the other side of the planet. All right. So as we zoom around to New Zealand, hopefully most of you know where New Zealand is. Now you do. There is actually a horse industry training facility there. There's a lot of the horse industry in New Zealand.
For their nation, a national training facility.
It is a national training facility. And there's a lot more to the horse industry in New Zealand. And for those of you that have the opportunity to go there, I haven't had that opportunity yet, but I would very much like to. I know that the horse industry there in New Zealand is very strong. And some of the top riders that we know of in various different disciplines actually come from New Zealand. A great way to finish off our alphabet of the horse industry.
Go New Zealand.
Go New Zealand. So we've talked about the A to Z of the horse industry, and hopefully we've given you a little bit of perspective. We've certainly counted and talked about a lot of things.
There's a lot out there.
There is a lot out there. And we hope that many of you will go and learn more about the broader horse industry. And I think that that's very important. It's something that we certainly advocate for.
And if you have any questions about anything we talked about, feel free to Google it yourself.